Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into, well, a really quite chilling place name in the Caribbean, Massacre in Dominica.
It certainly stands out. And our mission really is twofold. First, get the story straight on the brutal attack in 1675 on a Kalinago village there.
Right, and second, tackle that specific question listeners have raised. Was it actually the French who named it Massacre?
Exactly. The crucial question. But to even start, you need the background. You have to picture the Lesser Antilles in the 17th century.
Okay, so what are we talking? Intense competition.
Oh, absolutely. A real geopolitical pressure cooker. Primarily Anglo French rivalry boiling over constantly.
But wasn't Dominica supposed to be, like, off limits? I remember something about a treaty.
You're right. The 1660 treaty had formally designated Dominica and St. Vincent too as neutral ground, reserved, supposedly, just for the indigenous Kalinago people.
Supposedly being the key word there, I guess.
Definitely. Colonial powers, strategic interests. That treaty's neutrality was, well, let's just say, conveniently ignored when it suited them.
And right in the middle of all this tension, there's this figure, Thomas Indian Warner.
Yes, a fascinating, really pivotal character. Born around 1630, his father was Sir Thomas Warner, the English governor of St. Kitts.
Okay, English establishment.
But his mother was a Kalinago woman. So he had this mixed heritage from the start. He got an English education, but things changed when his father died in 1649.
How so?
Apparently, his English stepmother treated him very poorly. So he fled, went back to Dominica, and wasn't just accepted, but became a powerful leader, a chief among the Kalinago.
Wow. So he's caught between worlds. How did the English view him then? As English? As Kalinago?
That's the complexity. They tried to use him, saw him as a valued intermediary. They even made him deputy governor of Dominica, likely to project this image of, friendly indigenous cooperation.
But if he was truly committed to the Kalinago, to keeping Dominica their homeland, that makes him dangerous to the English agenda, not just useful.
Precisely. A liminal figure, yes, but one who ultimately chose a side. And that choice put him directly against his own family.
His family?
His English half-brother, Colonel Philip Warner. He was the governor of Antigua, embodying that relentless English imperial push. Thomas stood for Kalinago independence. A collision was inevitable.
And when did this collision happen? We should probably clarify the date because there's been some confusion.
Good point. Yes, some sources mention 1674, but the scholarly consensus now strongly points to 1675. This was after some Kalinago raids on English settlements in Antigua.
Okay, 1675. So Philip Warner sails to Dominica. Is this presented as a diplomatic mission, or is it clearly punitive from the start?
Well, that's the treacherous part. Yeah. It was framed as diplomacy. Philip wanted revenge for the raids, yes, but he lured Thomas and his followers onto his ship, pretending to want peace talks.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Reports say they plied them with alcohol, got them drunk, and then just murdered Thomas and his party in cold blood right there on the ship.
That's brutal. Just outright assassination disguised as a negotiation.
Calculated deception. And it didn't stop there. After killing Thomas, Philip's forces went ashore. They attacked the village, Residas.
And that's the massacre itself.
That's the massacre. About 80 Kalinago inhabitants killed. And the site, the place we now know as Massacre, it's named directly, explicitly, because of that event in 1675.
So the name is linked to this event, which brings us back to that question. Did the French name it Massacre?
Okay, so our sources don't give us like a smoking gun from French archives saying, we hereby name this place Massacre.
But the motive is incredibly strong.
Exactly. Think about it. The fierce Anglo-French rivalry. What better propaganda tool for the French than to constantly point to this place called Massacre and say, see what the English do?
Right. It perfectly frames the English as barbaric, untrustworthy, helps the French solidify their own alliances with the Kalinago. Makes perfect sense strategically.
It becomes this permanent geographic piece of anti-English rhetoric. So while we can't confirm the French named it based on these sources, the reasoning is compelling.
And what happened afterwards? Did Philip Warner face any consequences for, well, mass murder and treachery?
This part is just. It's a masterclass in colonial hypocrisy. The British Crown did officially condemn the act. They made a show of seeking justice for the injustice to Warner.
Trying to save face, manage the diplomatic fallout with the Kalinago.
Absolutely. Damage control. But then, Philip was actually put on trial in Barbados. Acquitted. Completely acquitted.
What? So the official condemnation was just for show?
It reveals the underlying truth. The murder, the massacre, while officially deplored, was unofficially sanctioned. It served a purpose. It eliminated Thomas Warner, this problematic leader who bridged two worlds, and it helped assert English control. Strategic goals trumped any real justice.
So the whole thing was a calculated strategic move masked by public hand-wringing.
Precisely. And that name, Massacre, it just stays there on the map. A constant reminder of this specific brutal act of colonial violence and duplicity. It shows how personal conflicts, like between the Warner brothers, get tangled up in these huge geopolitical games.
So, for you listening, the key takeaway is that the name is undeniably tied to this 1675 tragedy. It's a memorial to that event.
But since we couldn't find that definitive proof about the French naming it in the sources we looked at, here's something to think about.
Okay.
If the French did deliberately apply the name massacre as propaganda, think about the power of that act. How might that single intentional naming choice have echoed down the centuries? How could it have shaped the identity of that place, the memory of the event, turning a specific crime into an enduring tool of historical narrative and maybe even political identity?
That's a powerful thought to end on. The enduring legacy of a name.